Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks Wargaming and the first video in a new series of videos, which will be following me building up some of the bolt action sort of tanks and figures and everything else that we're building up for the channel. We've sort of decided that all the bolt action stuff's kind of going to be a bit of a studio thing, so we're each doing sort of little bits. So this is what I will be working on first. So this is the Panzer IV. This is a bolt action figure supplied by Warlord. I've not really done anything like this since I was a kid, really. So quite looking forward to doing this. I've got some weathering powders on order and some little bits and bobs to go more on a realistic approach. Those of you that have seen sort of how I sort of paint my Space Marines, my Iron Hands and my Blood Angels, you notice it's more of a sort of almost like a comic book sort of style, I guess. Not very realistic looking, you know, with the hard edge highlights and stuff like that. But I want to try and go for something more realistic, keep in with the Second World War theme, really. So yeah, looking forward to doing these. So without further ado, let's crack open the box and see what we get. Okay, so that's everything there. So we've got a little bag here. It seems to be a cards for each of the builds. So you can build, this is a Panzer IV, but you can build it in the G and H variant. Oh, dropping it. And also the F variant. I think I am going to go for the H variant, which is this one, with the, I think it's called Schertzen down the side. That's the plan. So I think that's the way that I'm going to build it. It also comes with obviously the transfer sheet and who packed it. And this is a little I think this is like the smoke marker or something that you have to make up. I'm sure there's something in the instructions shows you how to do that, so probably build one of those as well. It's quite a simple instruction sheet there. Very simple, in fact, just the 2 pages. So shouldn't take too long to build that. And then we've got 1, 2, 3 sprues. So yeah, it looks sort of, you know, about as complex as what you'd expect from a Games Workshop kit, really. You know, they're generally about 2 or 3 sprues. So yeah, it looks like we've got sort of the top hull, side wheels, some of the gun barrels, everything like that on that one. Then this one, the bottom of the hull, bottom of the turret, and the tracks. Yeah, so 2-piece per track. Make it easier. I'll probably leave those off for painting if I can. I'll have to work it out. Like I say, I haven't built anything like this since I was a kid. I used to do Airfix models and things like that. I was more planes though, to be fair. So I don't think I've ever done a Second World War tank. So yeah. And then here's the skirt. The sprue looks fairly clean, apart from these bits here. Don't know if you can see that on the camera. Get it in an angle, you can see just a little bit of flash, but nothing too major. No major mould lines where you'd be concerned on that one. And again, yeah, no major mould lines, so not a lot of cleanup by the looks of it on this. The turret seems pretty clean as well, so you can never fully tell until you start building them. But that looks pretty clean. Yeah, so I'm quite impressed with this kit actually. I know some of the earlier kits that Warlord put out didn't have the best rating, shall we say. I think some people were actually sort of whinging about the quality. I think that was more to do with their resin kits, so they've moved to plastic kits now, and these seem to be really good. So yeah, let's get building. Okay, so I've cut off all the parts to just make this part of the hull. Looking at it, I can actually build the side track sections. I'll have to put the tracks on because they tuck underneath the main hull, but I think I should be able to just leave these off as a subsection for painting purposes. So I'll just have sort of the main hull and the turret with all the accessories glued on, and then stick those on when it's all complete. So that's the plan. So let's get sticking this together. Okay guys, so I have finished the hull. Really quick and easy to put together. Some nice detail on this though. Quite impressed with the amount of detail. And like I said when I was inspecting the sprues, it's quite clean. Not an awful lot of cleanup on this, other than obviously where you remove it from the sprue itself. Slight sort of niggle really, but nothing too bad. You probably won't notice it in paint. There is this gap here, so this is 3 pieces that you put around, and to get it nice and flush at the front where you'd want it to be, it means that you just got a slight gap there. But I guess maybe just put like a little bit of green stuff or something like that in there, or I don't know, there might even be something that sits in front of it so you won't even notice it. So that's where we are. I decided just to drill out, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, just drill out the exhaust pipe slightly there just to give it a little bit more detail. So that's that. So we're on to the tracks. One thing I did notice, this is actually number 3 and that's number 4, so they've just put the number in the wrong way round from what I could see on the instructions. So if you are building this, just sort of pay attention to that, but other than that, it's going together really quickly. So let's get these built up and we'll be back in a second. So there we go then guys, we've got the track sections all finished. Very simple to put together. This has got sort of a keyed part, so you can't put it in the wrong way. This one, I don't suppose it would have mattered if you'd put either of them on. It's exactly the same part, it's not keyed in anyway. And then the 2-part tracks, there's lots of flex in them, so it's quite easy to actually make sure that there was no gap either end. I am going to leave them off, as I said earlier. I've just sort of checked and done sort of a dry fit, and they actually go quite nicely underneath the skirt there, so I can leave those off for painting purposes. I might stick them on, I haven't quite decided yet. So yeah, we are now on to more of the detailing section. Now if you see here, there's some parts which are actually numbered and some that have got the letter next to them. So I'm going to be making the H variant, so I'll only need to put the parts on which say H before them, and the ones which haven't got any letter because they're universal across all of the variants. So I'm going to build that, and the next thing you'll see is the chassis built with all these accessories on. Okay then guys, so that is all the details put onto the main hull. So I've added this sort of, I don't know, is that a fuel tank or something like that. A few of the jerry cans, the lights, the machine gun, the details at the front with the, I think these are toe points, and then the extra track, some extra bits around the side, spare wheels, and then the antenna. That was probably one of the most blooming tricky things to stick on, to be fair. Couldn't find my tweezers anywhere. I think the wife's had them to pluck her eyebrows obviously, so had to sort of try and stick it like that with my fingers, and yeah, it pinged off a few times. So yeah, that's the hull done, and that means that we've completed this first page. What I will say is the instructions, they're not terrible, but the parts over here you can't actually sort of see exactly where they're supposed to be. They do provide you with this little picture here, but it doesn't show you the exact positioning of the jerry can on the back and also the shovel. I couldn't work out where the shovel went, so I've actually left it off. So I'm presuming it will just go down the side here or something. But once I want to try and get the shirtson in place first of all before I stick a spade on that then stops me putting the shirtson on. So I've left that off for now. So I might put that on in a bit. So yeah, we're now on to the second page. In total, with the cleanup, with dropping a few tiny little pieces onto the carpet and trying to find those. It's probably taken me about, I don't know, 45 minutes to get to this stage, and that's with sort of cleaning everything off the sprue. As I've sort of said, the mould lines on this aren't terrible, but there were a few little fiddly bits on the track which you had to dig out just from where they were stuck onto the sprue itself. So yeah, quite a little fun build though. This is definitely one that you could knock out in an evening. So yeah, let's get on to building the turret. Okay, so that is the turret now finished. Very simple to put on, just a couple of bits at the back, little bits of detailing around the side, the hatches. You can either have it open or closed. Open obviously with the sort of commander sticking out. I didn't want to do that. And then just the barrel and the housing to switch to stick in. I don't know if you can see that in the camera really, but I've just drilled out the end of the barrel there just to give it a little bit more detail. It's what I do with all my Space Marines. So yeah, kind of done it there as well. So oh, nearly dropped it. So that is pretty much finished now. Just need to now put these extra bits of plating on. I'm going to leave these off for painting. I'm thinking that I might glue these to the skirts first of all, and then sort of glue it on afterwards after it's painted. But I need to try and obviously get all these mountings in the right position. So this is probably going to be a little bit fiddly, I'm guessing, but let's have a look how we'll get on with that. So there we have it. That is the build complete. I decided I'll just stick the tracks on in the end. It's not going to be too tricky to actually paint around there, and the top you won't actually see. As I said, I'm going to put a lot of weathering powders and everything in there, so I thought it would be a bit of a waste of time to actually paint the tracks anyway. Plus with the weathering, you want to match it up to the rest of the body, and if the tracks are off, that might not necessarily look right. So yeah, there's the hull, the turret. So there's your tank. Nice looking little model actually. Quite happy with that. For something that's obviously a lot smaller than what I'm used to building, there's quite a decent layer of detail on that. And these side skirts, I was kind of thinking that they'd be really fiddly, but they're not actually. They come with sort of a little groove, and each one of these is a specific part, which has got sort of, you know, so an angled direction. I just dropped a little bit of glue on the actual skirt itself, and then just slotted them in. Left it tacky, and then test fit it on the side of the model, and yeah, it fit quite nicely. So it just hooks on top of the hull. A little bit tricky to do, but yeah, it will fit quite nicely there. No messing around really, so I was quite happy with that. Same with the turret. So the turret, there's kind of just a little bit of a line that you need to just guide it into, and then it sort of hooks on around like that. A little bit tricky to show you like on the camera, but yeah, and then it'll all seal up at the back. So yeah, that's it. That's the Panzer IV variant H completed. So the next video you'll see will be it completely painted, so a little showcase of that. I'm not going to do a painting tutorial because I haven't really got the setup, to be honest with you, and with it being the first one that I'm going to paint, I'm not actually sure how I'm going to do it. I've got a lot of Citadel colours. I'm not sure that they're going to be the best thing to use, so I might have to invest in some paint. So there might be a bit of a gap between this video and the actual painted one. So just bear with me on that. I've also got the Sherman to do as well. So you might have this, then a Sherman video, then this painted, then the Sherman painted. I might do something like that. But yeah, I'd say in total to finish building this, I don't know, probably hour and a half. Probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours absolute tops. I wasn't really sort of pushing myself to build it quickly. It's the first time I've done anything like this in quite some time. So I was taking my time cleaning everything up correctly before gluing it on, and just double checking the instructions. It's not like building a rhino or anything like that. I can build a rhino in 15 minutes because I've done so many of them. So I'm sure once I've done a few of these, I'll speed up the time. But yeah, nice little sort of Friday night project, really. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that video. Give us a comment down below. Let us know if there's anything that you'd do slightly differently with a build, or any advice for painting or anything like that. And if you haven't already subscribed, it'd be great if you could subscribe. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers, so you'll be entered into a competition. There's a link down below. Just follow that link for the competition details. Yeah, and that's it. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.